I'm joined by Stephen Caldwell and Kevin Kilban. It's been a great season so far for Jonathan David. Some big goals for Lille, both in Ligue 1 and in the Champions League. And now a huge night for both the club and player as Lille head to Anfield to face Liverpool in the Champions League. Given Jonathan David's position right now and being linked with different clubs, huge clubs across Europe, Stevie, could this be one of the biggest days of his career?
I think it is. It's a massive shop window, as we call it, Luke, for Jonathan David when you're playing against a Premier League side. And Liverpool, in my opinion at the moment, the best team in the world, playing the best football throughout all the leagues around Europe. And so it is that shop window, that opportunity to go to Anfield, an iconic stadium, and to perform on that level. I think it's going to be a big night for him. It's going to be a night where he's probably asked to defend a lot, Kev. He's going to be maybe not getting as many touches as he normally would get in maybe a home game or in Ligue 1. But he's certainly going to get opportunities, and if he can take them, if he can be clinical when they come, then I'm sure his stock will rise even higher, won't it?
Yeah, it's really interesting you make the point of you're in the window, Stevie, aren't you? You're there for everybody to look at constantly. And it's these big games, in many respects, that those big clubs are judging you on and what you're doing. You might not have a lot of the ball, but it's what you do when you're in possession of the ball and those key moments in the game. And you know, if you think back to yourself, Stevie, when you were a young lad, when pressure's on and you think about maybe moves that's on the horizon and teams that's coming to watch you, and you get the butterflies a little bit from it, don't you? You start to feel a little bit like there's extra pressure on you going into those games. And I think maybe going back 2 years of Jonathan David's career, I think he maybe felt that a little bit. He certainly looked like he felt that a little bit when there was a lot of hype around which move he was going to make. I think he's kind of used to it now. He's played in some big games, certainly across the course of this season, and scored some big goals against big sides. So I think the judgment is probably already there for a lot of the clubs on him now. This is almost like for his own benefit against playing against some of the bigger sides. So I think he can enjoy the occasion. I think he's got to try to do that as much as he can. But I agree with what you're saying that it's the next big game for him. This is what he will be judged on across the course of the next 6 months, these big games in the Champions League.
So how much, Kev, can one game make a difference? If clubs have been looking at Jonathan David, and over the course of the last couple of years, we've heard time and time again, whenever the transfer window is open, that he's linked with various different clubs at various different levels across Europe. He's played in a World Cup. He's played in Copa America. Does one night where he's the star of the show at Anfield actually make a difference?
It can do. If he was to score a hat-trick at Anfield, yes, it certainly highlights his achievements or his ability to a lot of clubs. But you made a good point about how he's been monitored and how he's been looked at across the course of the last 2 years. I don't think he will be judged solely on this 90 minutes or whatever he's going to do in this game against Liverpool at Anfield. But it can be a game changer for him. It can be a career changer for him if he has a big night. In saying that, Luke, he's probably automatically in his head thinking, just do. I think it's almost like just following a process. Follow the process that he's done and a continuation in his career. He's not 21, 22, where that pressure of that big move now would have always been there in his head. I honestly think he's a little bit more relaxed in the surroundings of playing against better players, Stevie. I think he can almost feel a game better now. And I think watching him, the way that he has developed, I don't feel there's an edginess around his game now. I think he's very controlled in everything that he does. And that's what maybe sets him apart from a lot of the other strikers around the world. And that's what entices a lot of the other big clubs, should I say, because I think they see him as a relaxed guy, a guy that's now been in this position now for a number of years with the pressure on him, and he can handle it. And I think that's what maybe goes in his favour more than anything else.
I think you make a great point, Kev. I think the point around him feeling these big games maybe a couple of years ago is significant. Now he feels like he belongs at this level, doesn't he? He's calmer, he's more assured, he knows exactly what his strengths and weaknesses are, and he is a consummate professional. He's a team player. He's a guy who does what's needed for the team on any given day. So he'll be under no illusions it's going to be a tough game at Anfield, that he's going to go in there and he's going to be asked to defend, he's going to be asked to do the dirty work, as we say, to come back in and help the team. And then can he keep some energy? Can he really capitalise and be ruthless when his chances come along? That'll be the key. If he can do that, and I mean, teams know these days scouting is so significant. They know exactly what these players are all about. They know every single detail about a football player. But if he can go to Anfield and he can do his job. And then when his chances come his way, if he can capitalise on one or two of them, then for sure, against the best defenders in the world, your stock absolutely rises. And that's what he'll be looking there to go and do. But I think you're spot on with your point around this is a big game for Lille. This is a big game for the football club. And Jonathan David, as a team player, he's going to go there, he's going to do what's needed for the team and perform on that level. And if the glory comes along with that, then of course he'll take it. But he's certainly not going there thinking solely for himself and what might happen in the summer.
Just finally, Kev, if Jonathan David is going to be the best player he can possibly be, do you think that prior to 2026 he needs to move to a bigger club, or can he achieve that at Lille?
Well, it's likely that he is going to move, if not this next 2 weeks or the last bit of this window that's open now in January. It definitely will be this summer. It looks highly likely he's going to move. That'll be the best thing for his career. I think he has to move, Luke. I think he's got to take the next step now. Now, whether that's a move to the reported teams that we're hearing in the Premier League, or whether or not it's a team elsewhere in Europe that's going to really enhance him, certainly at Champions League level, and give him a chance to seriously compete in the Champions League, or is he going to go to somewhere that's going to compete in a domestic league and be part of a really successful side? This is the one maybe thing that he's got to weigh up, I think, down the line, Luke. But I think he does have to move. Generally, I think the next step in a career is at the right age now, where I feel he'll be probably monitoring a lot of clubs and a lot of strikers whose position that he might be taking, to think and how he can better those players. At that level now, the level that he's at, Luke, I think he's ready for it, and I think he probably needs to move, yes.
He's got to move. I agree, Kev. He has to make that step. I think he's got to go to a different league. But I'm sure he's looking at some of these clubs and thinking, where can I go and make a significant difference? Where can I go and play? Where can I go and impact a team? Because that's so important. He doesn't want to go somewhere in the Premier League or Bundesliga, maybe a Bayern Munich, and then play second fiddle to a Harry Kane as an example. He has to go somewhere where he's going to be the #1 striker. He's going to get some time to bed himself in and to get ready and to understand what that league takes, and then obviously to settle and start scoring goals. So I think that's absolutely key. I don't think in terms of the magnitude of the team is so important to Jonathan David. What is important is that he is going there to make an impact, to be a first-team player and to play every single week. He's got to do that if he's going to be impactful for Jesse Marsch also in the World Cup coming up next summer.
17 goals in 30 games in all competitions this season for Canadian striker Jonathan David, and he looks to add to his tally on one of the biggest soccer stages of all, Anfield, in the Champions League on Tuesday.